And welcome back to another video. Here I'm gonna react or respond to a comment that I received on one of my videos. So a few days, well, depending on when this video goes up, a few days ago, I published a video named How We Make $4,100 in 1 week detailing cars. And in it, I tell you how much work we have for the week, what we have for the day, and what we kind of do. And Ricardo Gutierrez, sorry if I mispronounced your name, he left me a thoughtful comment, and we kind of went back and forth a bit, and then I kind of started replying just because the questions he was asking, I already have like podcast episodes. I've done it on IG Lives. I've done stories on it. So I was like, oh, I don't want to talk again about the same thing, right? And so I'm gonna read you his comment. I'll read what the conversation, and then I'll take it from there. It says $4,100 in a week sounds low if you take into consideration that you probably have 4 to 5 workers to pay out. Rent, utilities, cost to run vehicles, insurance, and consumables. It'll be nice to know what the actual cost of running a business is. You can make $10,000 a week, but if it costs you close to that to run your business a week, then what's the point? Someone out there could be making $1,000 a week detailing cars from home, and he would probably be making more money than someone making $10,000 a week renting a shop and paying employees. I would be curious to know how much it actually costs you to have 3 guys there full-time, plus your mobile team, plus rent, plus utilities, insurance, consumables. But that is my point. Putting down how much money you make without knowing what you are spending is a bit useless. It makes you sound like you are killing it when in reality you could be barely making it. If you were a bit more upfront in what it costs to run a business your size with 4 to 5 employees, rent, utilities, insurance, fuel costs, marketing to run your mobile shop business, then your viewers could get a better idea if 4,100 is good or bad, or how much they could charge for a job. You are describing 6 jobs booked for a week for a crew of 4 to 5 employees, and 4 of them are easy jobs. So I'm doing quick math, and there is no way that is profitable. Yeah, so that is very on point. And again, it's like when Forbes comes out with like the billionaires or how much this person is worth. They don't actually know. Do you think they actually look at the books of whatever rich person that they're doing on and reviewing, and like they know their finances? No, like all these, like, this guy is worth 75 million. This guy is worth 750 million. This guy is worth 1.9 billion dollars. Do they actually know the number, their net worth, their assets, what they own? Like, no, it's all made up. Like, it's all just literally them guessing what the price is. Now, unless you're on a public company and you're sharing all your statements and financials and you're sharing all the numbers, like, that's the only way you're gonna know how a business is doing. If it's a private company and they're not sharing their finances, they're not sharing their expenses, which they shouldn't if they don't want to, because that's none of our business, then you're not gonna know the true number, right? So if Chick-fil-A in 2020 crossed the $13 billion mark, right? In gross revenue, they generated $13 billion. And they went from 1,000 stores to 2,000 stores in a span of 19 years. There is no way, unless they share, I didn't look into if they actually shared their expenses, but then they're not a public company. There's no way for us to know what that means, right? Like, there is zero way for you to know. So that's why I say, like, again, I'm not revealing anything new. I've covered this so many times. But on social media, whatever you see, it's not real. It's just a little glimpse of what you're looking at, right? So if you're seeing someone that's posting these high-end vehicles, paint correction, ceramic coating, oh my God, you're doing a Urus and a Porsche and an Aventador, and oh my God, you're just booked out for, it's like, you don't know what they're making. You do not know if their business is struggling. I have people in my DMs from videos of other channels that, hey, we made 1,000 in a day. We made 1,000 in a day. I'm hiring 2 employees. Our business is expanding. And they're in my DM saying, hey man, we're kind of struggling right now. What can we do to market our business? Like, I'm getting those DMs. And it's like, and it's not even on that end, because even on my part, I'll post a video, let's say we have a $4,100 week, right? And I post it. And then let's say next week we have a $1,700 week, right? Last week was $4,100. This week is $1,700. Now, since that video is still getting views, it's still getting followers, it's still getting comments, people are thinking I'm still making that much per week. And it's just like, I recorded that week because it was a good week. I talked about it and hyped it up because it's a good week, but that's not to say next week is not gonna be terrible. Yet I'm gonna still ride that train because, well, I'm not gonna post that I made, less money next week, because then what did the last week mean, right? Which again, I'm very transparent in how much we're making. So again, through podcasts, through the stories, I talk about how much we make per month. So it's not like I'm not, that I don't share the numbers. But anyways, as a whole, social media is fake, right? Now for us, I try to be as transparent as I can, right? So that's why I make a video on our shop cost, how much it costs per month, what the deposit was, our lease. Like I try to be as transparent as possible. But as I mentioned in plenty of other videos, there's a fine line between what I'm sharing and in my personal life, right? Like for instance, how many times have I cursed on camera? If you go back the last 6 years, it's probably been like 2 or 3 times. And there are like small little, like not that bad words. But in reality, like here with the team, in my actual life, I literally say, I swear every other sentence. Yeah, it's very true. Like you don't know what a business is doing, how much they're making, the actual value or the success that they have if you don't know every single little expense. And on my part, I am gonna say, I'm gonna draw the line. You don't need to know what I'm paying the guys. You don't need to know what they're making. Why? Because that's none of your business, I'm not saying Ricardo, I'm saying as a whole. Please don't get super sensitive and get your feelings hurt. I'm not saying Ricardo, I'm saying in general as to the online space. I'm saying you're not gonna know what they're making. You're not gonna know the ownership split between Lex and I. Why? That's not your business, Like I'm gonna draw that fine line of what I think is being transparent enough to help you guys with your business and what we're doing and kind of give you insight of how things are running. But then there's also that fine line of like, you don't need to know that. Why? For what? Because you want to know? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Right? It's just as simple as that. So I want to be as transparent as I can, but you're also not going to know fine details because that's not your business, But again, I still want to give you enough information where it makes sense. Like, okay, I kind of get a gist of what's going on. Because like, I'm not going to tell you how many hours every single person's working. And not only that, but it changes per week. I'm not going to tell you how much they're getting paid, and that's going to change as time goes on. So you're not going to know these very granular details because that's not your business. Because again, you can be profitable, right? On every job, you can be profitable. You can make money. You can say, wow, our profitability was 60%. Yet in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you can still go out of business. Why? Because profit isn't everything. That's why you don't look at your business in just one manner, right? You don't just look at profit. You don't look at gross. You don't look at net. You don't look. It's like it's a factor of things to see how your business is doing. So in a wider sense of running a business, though, it's like because a lot of people, again, not just Ricardo. I'm just talking as a whole. Is that they'll be like, man, with that many employees, are you even making money? Oh, with me working at a home garage, I'm probably making more money than you. And it's like, man, as you grow the business, you think you just have a magic 8-ball knowing every single next step that's gonna come? Does anyone know? And I don't mean me, right? I have a small business. We have 4 or 5 employees, right? Like we have a small business, we have a small business, right? We're tiny, we're tiny business. We are still in the Pee Wee leagues, right? We're not even in Little League. We're in the Pee Wee leagues right now. But it's like, does anyone that's making $5 million a year, 15 million a year, 35 million a year, 75 million a year, do they have a magic ball and know that every single decision is going to lead to a positive return? Absolutely not. Right? If we want to grow to 300,000 per year, do you think like every move, every decision, every hire, every van we buy, or every equipment that we purchase, is that just going to be a immediate positive return on our investment? No. As you grow, things are going to happen, man. Like, yes, when any business is doing well, you give a bit more raises out, you give a bit more bonuses out, you're a bit more lenient on overtime because the work is there, everyone's making money. You want to share a piece of the pie to everyone when things are good. Now, what happens when things are bad? What happens instead of having $5,000 worth of work on the week? It's actually just $4,300. So what do you do then? Does everyone still get bonuses and overtime? No. Why? Because the business. Okay, just you have to adapt to the current time that you're at. And I know as a whole, people look at it more like, oh well, no, when you hire someone, you're supposed to still be making a lot of money. It's like, my dude, you're not gonna guess every single thing that's gonna happen. Like, you're just not. Yeah, that's why I try to stay away from detail communities, detail forums, detail online group, because it's like, as soon as you say like you're gonna hire someone, you're gonna get a shop, oh bro, profitability is gonna go down, bro. Oh, I wouldn't do that. I'd want to pocket more money. It's like, my dude, I'm not trying to have that mindset, dude. Don't. That's why I stay away from communities like that, because as soon as you say anything about like growth, money, expenses, hiring, 80% of the people go towards like, oh no, not that. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. No, I don't want that. Oh, that's a dumb mistake. Oh, that's just more headaches that I don't want. Oh, I don't want to bother with that. Oh no, I'm doing decently because I want to be on my own. Oh no, I started my business because I want to be by myself. It's like, I don't need to hear that, man. I'm trying to push over here, just take us to like, I don't know, the next level or whatever level that means. I don't need to hear 50 different opinions on why I shouldn't do that. Where's the guy that's gonna tell me, push harder. Go for a higher goal. You're saying you want to make 300, go for 400. Where is that guy? That's the person I want to talk to, not the guy that says, "Oh man, that's too many headaches, bro. I just want to stay on my own." That's not what I want to hear, right? So it's like you can only like if you want to keep on pushing and growing, you have to surround yourself with the people that have that mindset. That have that mindset that say, "Yeah, man, like I honestly don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, I might not make that much money right now, but over time, I'll figure things out, and we'll get to where it needs to be." I don't know, dude. I can't stand the mentality of like, I don't know, like being a victim, like being soft, like just not being able to just to take the brute force of what it is to handle and run a business. And again, that's why I always say it's based on your goals, on your life. Like, what do you want out of this? Like, if you want to stay at your home garage, work on your own, no help, just one car per day, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just whatever you want out of life. Like, how much do you want to make, right? And like that, and that's why I said on this comment of like, if like right now, if I was at a home garage, like my home garage, and working on my own, like my life would be miserable because that doesn't excite me. That's not what I want. That's not my goal. And another reason why I'm very finicky on the finances is because once you say anything about finances, man, all the financial experts come out the woodworks, right? Oh my God. The few times that I mentioned about like revenue and stuff, oh, you should see the comment section, man. They're just littered with people that just know so much more than you. And yet what? Like I said, it's another podcast where like I only listen, or not listen, but the people that I watch and follow are people that I would like to get to at that point, not that are not where I want to be, right? So let's say I want to have, for example, right? We want to have a 10 million per year business, right? Annual revenue, right? We want, I'm just making up these numbers, 10 to 20 employees, right? So if I want to make 10 million per year with 10 to 20 employees, right? At a 25,000 square foot facility, right? Making up numbers here. What good does it to me if I'm watching a detailer that's working out of their home garage that has no employees, that has been there for the last 6 years and doesn't want to go get a van because they don't want a van payment? Does that connect, or does that make sense for me to want to have these big audacious goals while following, or just like kind of watching a detailer that doesn't have that in their mind? Of course not. So Ricardo is correct that it's like, yeah, just looking at the number at a high level, it doesn't mean anything, because it doesn't. What does it mean if Chick-fil-A has $14 billion in revenue in 2020, but their expenses was $13.5 billion? It means nothing, right? But again, we don't know any of that. We don't know the actual expenses, and it comes down to your, like I said, it comes down to your goals and what you want, right? Like okay, I doubt many people are gonna know this, let alone be at this part of the video that was described. But let's say Max Tuning, right, here in Houston, Texas, well, technically Stafford, right? His company Sour Strips makes, I think at this point, $8 million per year, right? Guess how much money he takes out of that company and pays himself. Out of an $8 million per year business, he pays himself zero. He takes zero money out of that company and puts everything back into growing it. He doesn't get paid at all. He gets nothing, right? His second company, Everford, I don't know how much they're making per month or per year, but guess how much he pays himself through that? How much money does he take out of Everford to pay himself, to live his life? Zero. He makes zero money because that's not where his money comes from. Another example, just because I watched that little group, is Christian Guzman, owner of Alphalete and Alphalete Gym, right? The clothing in the gym. He said it multiple times. He doesn't shy away from this because that's just how it is. Like, that's how his setup is. Like, that's how his system works. With the gym, with Alphalete Gym, he doesn't make any money. He spends so much on equipment, so much on making it the best gym in Houston. He said it multiple times. Dude, I make absolutely no money from the gym. Like, we barely make enough to cover the expenses, like our payroll, the shop, the rent, the paying off debt, or whatever. Like, we make just enough for that. But he knows that is the game plan that he has, because he makes all his money from the apparel, from his 3D drinks, from his partnerships. But that's the system he runs. He knows this is never going to be a super profitable business. But if he didn't have this, nothing else would be working, because everything revolves around the gym. So it's like everyone has their own strategy. Everyone has their own way of how they're going to grow the business, expand the business. Like, and that's why I don't dive too much into the finances, because it's like everyone has their own perspective of how it should be. And the few times that I have talked about finances, oh my god, like you should see the comments. I'm like, god dang, like what do you guys? You guys just think it's just this one specific manner to grow, right? It's like it's gonna be different for every person, right? Whether you're venture backed, you're bootstrapped, whether like growing fast versus slow, like there's so many ways to grow a business, to fund a business, to get paid, to handle it. Like that's why I'm very weary on sharing the financials, or not the financials, but like how we run the business financially, on the strategies, how we strategically run the business financially, if that makes sense. Because a lot of it will just go over people's heads and they'll just start clowning on it. Like, oh, you're so dumb. You're doing that, bro. You're not going to make it. It's like, bro, there's a strategy in place. But if I share, it's like, oh, like just comments that I don't really want to read. Because it goes back to like we're just not in the same mind frame. We're just not on the same path of like where we want to be. Not to say anything is right or wrong. It's just a reality of like, not everyone is set to just have that same mindset to take on that much risk, or to put that much of a commitment into things, because that's just not what they want, and that's perfectly fine. It all comes down to what you want out of life, your goals, and the level of work you want to put in. That's it. Some people can't take a lot of problems and stress and work. It is what it is. It's gonna be different for every single person. There's nothing wrong with that. You just do what works for you, and I'm doing what works for me. Some are going to be bad decisions, some are going to be good decisions, but that's how I see us growing the business and running the business. Oh man, this is a long video. I really did not expect for it to be this long, so I'll end the video right here. Let me know your comments down below on what you think. Again, when I make these types of videos, I'm not just talking about Ricardo. I'm talking about like I'm answering that question because anytime anyone asks any question, it's probably been asked at least like 1,000 times. So, I mean, maybe not 1,000, but you get the point. Like, it's been asked plenty of times. So it's like I'm answering it as a whole, but I also wanted to make a video specifically for Ricardo, since I didn't want him to go and like look for all those videos and stuff. I'll end the video right here. You can check the video description box below for the ultimate guide to start your detailing business, my podcast, the Detailing Business Class Podcast, or my second YouTube channel. It's the Proper Care channel. That's where I talk and teach everything detail related. Other than that, I'm going to end it right here, and I'll talk to everyone on the next one. Bye-bye.